Mandy, mighty Mandy. Welcome to the second chapter of the journey stories. It's just I this might sound like a cliche because I also said this to Dylan, but it's really an honor to have you as the second guests on this new project that we have at the Journey Endurance Club. And let me tell you why. Three reasons. First one, I think that you are a very crazy person, but in a good way. That's one. Number two, I think that you represent quite well the ultra mindset, quite well. And I think that's to understand that two, three conversations were enough for me to know that you have the mindset. And the third one, I think that you have an incredible, inspiring story and so much to teach other people. And of course, I'm not only talking about women, but of course, you you can obviously inspire other women not only to start running and doing ultras, but especially teach them and inspire them to show up, because I think
Yeah.
that's one of the hats that you have, like showing up, hashtag showing up. So again, thank you so much. Let's go. First question. Um, for how long have you been running?
So in general, about 8 years.
8
Like I think
years.
this, yeah, but generally speaking, so it started with just a 5K that I made my daughter do when she was 7. And she hates running now, she says, but she still runs with her dog. So I don't think she really hates it. But so it started with just this 5K because I thought it would be a good opportunity for her to get involved in the community and just have something to do. And I just got really addicted. So over the course of the 8 years, I did some obstacle course races.
Mhm.
I accidentally ran a half marathon one time. I got lost. Uh, and then several 5Ks, and so the OCR scene. And then in the last couple of years, I just got really attracted to kind of breaking myself down to see what I'm made of, which is this concept that a lot of people are not into at all because it's very hard. It can be very painful. But so I would say in the last couple of years, I've gotten really into like the crazy distances. I've
Mhm.
always kind of been the type of person to push the envelope, and I've always been very intense. Um, but yeah, so just in the last couple of years, I've been really channeling that into like, what am I going to do with like all this pent up, psycho energy, and how do I channel the intensity in a way that makes sense to me? And so for me, it's been ultra for sure. Absolutely.
So now I understand why, and just by coincidence, I gave you the nickname Mighty Mandy. So much energy in that body. Um, so, how was it to go from 5K to like a crazy second level called OCR, and then add a third extreme layer of ultras?
Well, so the OCRs, I just think are so much fun. Like it to
Spartans?
me, no, I didn't do a Spartan, but I did do a Conquer the Gauntlet and then a
Mm-hmm.
Warrior Dash. And I just think because you got to go scale a 40-foot wall, and then you have to get down and stay alive, and, and then run as fast as you can to the next obstacle where you have to swim half a mile, except you don't realize you're going to have to just jump in and swim. You think you're going to walk across. I don't know. I just think like pushing yourself to those limits. I mean, the obstacle course races are just so much fun. It
Yes.
feels like being a kid on a playground to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've never felt like they were scary or particularly difficult. I just really thought they were fun. Um, Now, to be fair, I haven't done a 12-hour obstacle course race, so I don't
Yet.
know.
Yet.
Yeah, right. Yet. I don't know what that would feel like, but I think it would still be really fun. So the transition from a 5K to those was just like, well, let's just see what else I can do. Like, let's just go check it out and see what's going on over here. Like, what are these people doing? So it never really felt like a transition. It just felt like another thing I was signing up for. Like I wasn't transitioning on purpose at all.
Okay.
And then ultra was actually an accident. I thought I was going to run a marathon that day because I had never run a marathon before. And I was like, well, today's the day. And then I looked at the mileage. It was a virtual run. It was last year, actually. And I looked at the mileage and I was like, this is not 26 miles. This is an ultra distance. And then I just kind of sat on that for a minute and I thought, well, I was already going to do 26.2. And if I can do that, then I can probably just finish it off to get to the 50K mark. Like it was the same thinking of, it just didn't really feel like that big of a difference to me. So I was like, well, I guess I'm going to run an ultra today then. And so since then, I've just kind of been pushing to see how far I can actually go.
Okay.
Which is pretty far.
I know.
Yeah, like nothing's ever really felt okay. Like I've done all this and now I'm going to go do all this other stuff. It's just been kind of a seamless thing just along the journey to find out what I'm actually made of. And I'm definitely not done finding that out.
Okay. We will go there in a minute. Let me just ask you a question because an extra reason why I said to myself like I really need to invite Mandy for this is I really would love you to share with us. And you said like when you saw that virtual marathon, you said this might be okay. This looks like more an ultra. Let's give it a try. And you just decided to go again from 5K OCR and then started with that virtual race because just like you said, I see that you are like let's try it. And I know that I'm not sure if it was this past year in the New Year's Eve. You just decided to do like that, 100-mile
Yeah.
self-supported. So how did you came up with this crazy idea of on New Year's Eve instead of I don't know, spend midnight at home or something, which is like what the normal people do, and decide, okay, maybe the best way to celebrate the New Year's Eve is to go out by myself and run an 100-mile race.
Yeah.
We want to
So
know more about that.
the way it happened is funnier than actually it happening. So there was an evening last year that I was talking with my big brother's best friend. And it was, everything last year, you couldn't really get together with people and we're states away from each other anyway. But we were sharing, I believe it was scotch, just virtually. And I was like, I think I'm going to run there so I can see my brother. So I looked up the mileage and I was like, that's 700 miles. I'm not doing that. Not anytime soon anyway. But then we were just kind of going back and forth. And I was like, what would be cool is to drive up there and pick a spot that's like 100 miles away from his house and run to him. And just like drop dead on his front door. So that was the plan. And my big brother, actually, I got him involved and I got the Parks and Rec department involved in that state. And we had it all mapped out and everything was good to go. My big brother was going to crew me and just kind of go with me the whole 100. But then COVID kind of ended those plans. And then I kind of was like, well, I already decided, in September that I'm going to run 100 miles. And so I'm still going to do it. It's just a matter of when. So then in October, I hired a coach. His name's Chad Noel. And I told him I want to run 100 miles and this is what we're doing. And so I was actually supposed to do it in December. But then COVID happened, and then I just kind of let it fall off. I let everybody think I wasn't going to do it because I think it's more fun that way. So I just kind of behind the scenes was making my plans and kind of following the training and deciding how I was going to go about it. And then on New Year's Eve, I got up. Well, and also I decided that I was going to have a lot of difficulty finishing if it was just an arbitrary run. If it didn't mean anything to me, then it would be really hard to run 100 miles by myself, especially in the weather conditions. The weather was like not working for me at all. So I decided, I think in November, that I would do, I think it was around Thanksgiving, I would make it be 100 miles of prayer. And so for the next month or month and a half, I had a list that I made of 100 line items of people and things that I would pray for very specifically. Some people I reached out to them and asked, how can I be praying for you? And then other people I just kind of knew based on what I was seeing. And then other things were more general, like peace for people, you know what I mean? But it was 100 miles and 100 line items. And so I carried this list with me the entire 100 miles. Okay. And that, I think, is what made it mean so much to me to get to do it. And the reason I did it on New Year's Eve is because I wanted to start the new year off with something of value. Whether you have faith or you don't, it's important how you live. And so for me, I just really needed it I just felt like I had to start the new year with something that was impactful. Whether you believe it or you don't is irrelevant. You know what I mean? Like, to a person that has faith versus a person that does not, it doesn't matter if the person that doesn't have faith, it matters that there's faith for them.
Yeah. So somehow it's like you just did it for your why on that moment, so you had a purpose, you felt that was the right day, the right thing to do, and you just went out to run 100 miles. And how long did it took you to run those 100 miles?
23 hours and 2 minutes and 55 seconds.
Okay. And what was the feeling in the end?
I couldn't sleep the whole next day. So I finished running, I think, at 7:00 in the morning. And I could not sleep for anything. Like, I took a hot bath. I used the CBD lotion on my legs. I tried to lay in bed and just watch TV. And I could not calm down for anything. Like, my body, I think, was just so fueled by adrenaline, and my muscles were seizing, and it was I don't want to say it was a rough day. It was really interesting. I was in a lot of pain, but not too bad. That's one thing I was very surprised by, is that nothing really hurt that bad. But yeah, I couldn't sleep at all. And then I kind of reflected on, I just ran 100 miles, and it was actually 101. So I was thinking about it, and then I was like, okay, well, now that's over. What do I do now? So I watched TV that day. And then, so this was actually in the middle of a 10-day event. Okay. So I did 100 miles, I think, at the beginning of the 10 days, and then ended up doing 277 in the 10 days. So I was never done after the 100. I think I only stopped.
200?
Yeah, 277 in 10 days. Yeah. So I did the 100, and then I watched some TV. And then the next day I was like, okay, I got more work to do.
the level of craziness just got from here to sky
People
and
don't
above.
usually, yeah, people don't usually know that. When I say I ran 100 miles, they don't know that that was actually just one day out of
Yeah.
10.
So
But that's kind of how
the
life
first
is
100
too.
miles were just the starter.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that was just like, okay, we'll do it this way. This is what we're doing.
Wow. And
I don't know if it was exactly the first day, but it was definitely like in the first few days, just for the sake of accuracy. But I already knew in at the beginning what I was going to do. So, I mean, it was pretty intense.
well, I can imagine. I can imagine. And from the 8 years of experience you have, but especially from the, for example, from the experience you had on this last New Year's Eve with 10 days, 277 miles.
Yeah.
What running means to you, like especially, of course, ultra running. What's the meaning of running and ultra running to you?
Well, it's not just one thing. Like, I mean, it's a way to stay active and be physically fit, but I know there's a huge misconception there. I think a lot of people, women especially, um, compare themselves with each other, and they think she's doing this so that she looks good. That has nothing to do with anything to me. I don't spend a lot of. I have one mirror in my house. You know what I? Well, I mean, actually, I guess technically two, because the kids have a mirror in their bathroom, but I have one mirror in my bathroom. Um, and so I don't spend a lot of time thinking about what I look like. It is good though. I mean, long-term health, I'm
Mhm.
definitely after that. But it's a lifestyle, and it's a way for me to stay mentally and emotionally grounded. Um, and also, I just have so much passion for sharing the journey with other people, because I think people get stuck in this cycle of just the daily grind, where you wake up and you go to your job that you hate, and then you go and you have to feed your kids or whatever it is that you do. And you never stop to think about, do you feel full in your life? Do you feel like you are whole? And then if you don't, then what can you do about that? Like, do you ever wonder if maybe there's more to the life that you're living? I think people don't stop to ask those questions. And so for me, it's always about, how much further can I go? And how many people can I take with me? Because I think that's my biggest thing, is just showing people that there's more in you than you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
Like, you have more power inside of you. I mean, you wouldn't believe it if someone told you. And so I guess that's kind of where purpose comes into it for me, is that, like, I think it's my job to tell you that, is that there's more in you than you believe.
Mm-hmm.
And you should be chasing that, whatever that
Mm.
means to you.
Mm.
It doesn't have to be running.
That puts a smile on my face. Like I feel happy when you say that,
Yeah,
and I really
it's
love.
true.
It's true. It's totally true. And
There's nothing that you can't have. There's nothing that's too far out of your reach. There's
yeah,
nothing that you can't do. And I think people, I think they think maybe they're not worthy, or maybe they believe they don't deserve it, or it's too hard. And a lot of it, I mean, it is hard. Every bit of it's hard. My run this morning was hard, but I deserved to get to do that. You know
yes,
what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And so does
totally,
everyone else. Yeah.
totally. I know that you wake up every day with the message saying you are the baddest, and sure you are.
Yeah.
um, and those types of things I really believe, and that's one of also, already, this one of the motives that led me to start this uh, community, and this mission is for people like you to say those types of things, and you must say it louder for the people in the back to listen to.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I really like it. And from all the purpose, from all your experience, what were the main learnings you had from going out, races or training, What are the main learnings that you had already from running? What
This,
running taught you already?
um, I think running has taught me a lot about myself. One, like, I think it took me far too long to treat myself well. And I've kind of found that through running just a lot of times. Because when you're at mile 49, the only person that's going to push you is you.
Mm.
And the only person that you're going to go to war with when it's the middle of the night and it's hailing and you're jackhammering, the only person that you have to get through those moments with is you. Or at least that's how it was in my case. And I think that it was really powerful for me to have to do that by myself. And that's kind of why I choose to run alone, is because I always want to visit myself to keep myself in check. Hang on just 1 second.
No worries.
Um, so, I mean, I think it's taught me a lot about myself and what I'm capable of. At this point, I don't think there's anything I'm not capable of. Like, I think I could, but then, that message that I give myself at 4 o'clock in the morning, that's for the bad days. That's for the days which is, every day at 4 a.m. feels like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Hang on just 1 second. Every day at 4 a.m. feels like it's 4 a.m. It's not easy. I'm really tired. Don't feel like running. I don't feel like doing anything at 4 o'clock in the morning. So that message is for me, as much as it is for you. It's just like, damn, 4 o'clock in the morning again.
Yeah.
Like, why do I do this? But it's because I'm after things that are bigger than me. I'm after, unity and community and sharing my experiences that have taught me who I am, so that other people maybe don't have to go through the same things that I did to get here. You know what I mean? So it's taught me a lot about me. It's also taught me that I'm the same as everybody else too. Like, well, shit, I don't have the best deck here. Like, I wasn't really given a great hand of cards, since birth. So that means the people with the really good hands could do a lot more than me if they chose to, right? So we're not actually separated by athletic ability. It's about what's in your mind. So it's taught me that for sure. Also to listen to your body.
So, but like, imagine that right now, you go out and you find a group of people, and let's go with like a group of women, young, our age, older, but young, especially young, or a group of people, women that would love to start running or could start to do ultra running. What would be the advice or advices you would give to them?
Lace up
It
and
can be
go.
like a sentence, for example,
Yeah.
move, but let's try to be a little bit more creative. What would be the advice that you'd give to a group of young women who'd love to do like running, a 5K, 10K, or even an ultra running?
Right. Well, first I would say put your damn shoes on. Because, the only person that's stopping you is you. That's really what it is. And there are valid reasons why women do that to themselves. But none of them really matter, if that makes sense. Like, if there's something that you want, then you need to go get it. And I think that it's about damn time women started to do that and to really get a hold of that, because I guess time's up. like you're gonna, today's the day. Like if you're gonna, if there's something that you want, then you don't really have a valid reason for not going after it, if that makes sense. It doesn't
Totally.
matter if you're insecure. It doesn't matter if you think you're fat. It doesn't matter if you even think you can. None of that matters if you're not even going to put some shoes on. So I guess I don't have a lot of like lovey-dovey, let me hug you and tell you that you're worth something. Because I mean, sometimes you just need a swift kick in the ass. But also, to the women that are legitimately hurting, and, to women who were like I was 11 years ago, they wouldn't believe me if I told them, like it really is one foot in front of the other. And it's the simplest thing you can ever do in your life is to just keep moving forward until you get there. And there is, there's a purpose for the pain. There's healing on the other side of that.
Hands down.
So,
Hands down.
so that would be the message, I guess, to
What?
the women who just think they can't do it, and to the women that are still really hurting pretty badly, and have a lot of healing to do. The pain is not without purpose. That would be probably the number one thing.
Okay. And two last questions. What can people, and especially since you are very active on social media, what can people learn about you? Or, well, let me rephrase. What can you teach people? What can people learn from you?
What could I teach? How to work, because that's, I think a lot of people get stuck in this too, is that it's not really like this. I mean, running is the science, there are mechanics, and there's a lot of science behind that. And it is valuable and it is important, but there's no replacement for hard work. And there's no replacement for the willingness to do that, whether you feel like it or you don't feel like it. Those things don't really matter. So I think how to work would be what I could teach. So if you came and lived with me, or if a woman wanted to come and stay with me for a week, she would learn how to work and just put the time in, get the time on your feet. It does, does that make sense?
Of course. Wow. uh, and especially, of course, for everyone, but especially for our community members. And since we are really looking forward to create authentic, real connections with like-minded runners, why do you think that community members like me should DM you? So I can put the question like this: a community member from the Journey Endurance Club should DM Mighty Mandy because what they can expect from you.
Because I want to see you win maybe more than you do. I'll be your number one cheerleader. I really love to watch other people do things that they didn't think they could do. And the way that like the whole person lights up when they've just, maybe it's your first 5K or your first half or your first 50K. Like from the minute they start asking questions like, how do I prepare for this? And what are your thoughts on nutrition and fuel? And do you even think I can do it? Damn right you can do it. Put your shoes on. So, I mean, for me, it's really just about being the cheerleader. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I like to be there for the wins. I like to be there when you feel like you've failed, because then I get to remind you that no run is wasted and no investment that you have made in yourself is a waste. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you need someone to cheer you on, I will be that guy.
We started by saying that you totally represent the ultra mindset, the show up mindset, the hardworking mindset, and I finish by saying that you totally represent what this project is all about, since we have the slogan "Go, we got your back." So you totally got people back. Mandy, thank you so much for being such an inspiring person, for all your hard work, for the message that you share, the experience. And I'm I totally I'm sure that you will succeed in every race, in everything that you put your hands on. I'm sure that you will succeed. And I will be here, we will be here to watch. as a
Well, thank you
community
so
that
much for saying
got
that.
your back. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
Ciao, ciao.
All right, bye.